Here is the S&P 500 futures. You can see we're kind of getting into a demand zone down here. You can see a lot of wicks happening in this area. You can see, currently this candle that started an hour and a half ago, is wicking in this area. So this is one place to watch. Under this 36.47, we'd look for more downside to the 3600 level, and then getting into the 35.54 range. And you can see going across, we have another one here. I'll draw that. We have a little range right here. So that's where we'd have another range. That would be our next big downfall. So basically 100 points from the top at the bottom here at around 36.50, going to around 35.50 here, 35.30. So that's where we're looking at there. Here's the SPY chart. You can see definitely a breakdown. We're down 5% over the past few days here. I was looking for a 7 to 13% dip, and so far so good. We're getting what we're coming to. So we'll see how this plays out going forward. So let's get into the watch list now. We have Fluent here. This is one of our plays that we've been watching, and we've had a big position in going into this year. This in BlackBerry paid out around 500% on the uh, on the shares. The calls paid out around 1,500 to 2,000%. So we sold out of that one. We're gonna actually look into getting into that again tomorrow. That was one of our long-term plays of 2021, and it still is a long-term play. And we'll look to add on the dip tomorrow. We did sell out, around the 20 to 22 range. Now, Fluent was my most highly convicted play of 2021, and so far it's taken a little backseat here to BlackBerry. Obviously, BlackBerry got a big run and got some help from WSB. Now, this one you could see, let me just show you the weekly candle first. You can see the cup and handle setup that we have here. Let me take this out so there's all stuff. And there's a basically $5 move from the top of this rounding bottom to the top of the cup. And so if when we break out of this cup and handle, we are looking at another $5 move up. So the breakout area is basically around 620 to 650. So we're looking for the 11 to 12 range, basically within 3 to 4 months of that breakout. And like I said, my price targets for this one at the end of the year were 15 to $20. So it gets us right under that range, that 15 to $20 range. But of course, we could obviously go more once we break out of the cup and handle. We can go more than this $5 range. So you can see the cup and handle here, the cup, and break it over this level. It's basically the handle, or you can just consider this, the top of the cup, I guess. And you can see the handle that formed here. We kind of broke out of it, and now we're starting to go back up and getting into the top of the cup range. So here we had a nice, big move in that first 3 days right here. Now we're building like a mini flag, you can say. Bottom being $5, 498 about, and the breakout area being 565, which has been a little bit of a trouble, and especially big area being, over the six, trying to close over that and getting over 620, going into the 650 range. So that's what we're looking at on this one. And I'm looking for a close over $6 this week, unless the market, takes a major dip, which is very possible with the silver move that's going on. If you guys seen my recent post on Twitter or in any of the chats, you'll see what I've been talking about there. The silver move is not good for the markets and will cause more of a downfall, causing ES to even go lower, possibly into the 3,200 range. So we'll be looking at a 20% dip there, about 15 to 20%, which is not good. Let me just get rid of this. Sorry about that. Okay. Next play here, we have snow. And this one is a beautiful setup here. I'm going to show you what I mean here. So forgive me for this line. I had a large setup. We have a strong support line that has been here since the IPO. You can see it going here. And that trend line is held very well. You can see we're sitting at that line. You can see that we are in basically a little wedge here, kind of, coming right to the end here. So we're going to break out this week one way or the other. And I would say upside, you could see the volume has really, slowed down here, getting lower and lower and lower in these past 2 days, even on the red days, getting lower and lower. That calls for usually a breakout to the upside. Of course, the market could play a part in, changing that idea. And I'm looking for a move to the 300 to 310 range. And that's where we're going to look at there for possible upside and selling our calls that we have right now. So that is what I'm looking at there. Let me go to the next one. The next one we have is fuel cell. Okay, so let me bring this chart up. So here's a chart. Let me just bring up, it's basically one that everyone talks about with it is plug. So this one was at, the same range as fuel cell in the beginning, broke out of that 20 range, went higher to 40, and then really broke out here. You can see it's basically wedging up here, making a pennant, and that looks really good. So this is one to watch going forward too. But F cell is in like a channel here. We want to see it go down possibly to this green line here around the 17 to $18 range so we can get a dip. And then we look for upside breaking into the 25 plus range over the next few months. So that's what we're looking on that one. This was just a quick overview here. You can see I read the same thing here, looking over 30 plus. Zoom is another great play here. So you can see that DocU, Teledoc, and all those ran. And here you have a little flag forming here on Zoom. So Zoom did run, but it's been flagging since then. And it's looking for a big breakout over this 400 area. You really want to see it get over, yeah, that 400 area, honestly. And we could see a lot of move to the upside here, getting into the 440, 450 range once we break that. So this is what we're looking at there, trying to break this flag. Want to look for an entry around 360 to 365 as a starter. If it breaks lower, you get out for a small loss, or you look for the entry of the breakout of like 385, 388, and going higher into the next level at 400. Okay, now we have Fubo. Another perfect setup here, the second most highest shortage stock other than GameStop. So here you see the volume starting to slow down again. We had these three red candles, volumes getting a little bit lower each day. Obviously, this one dropped, pretty decent. Um, and I guess you could say I drew this, don't really take it for granted. I mean, or take it for what it is, but it has basically, held this line from this bottom going all the way up. So we'll see how this reacts. And I'm looking for a push over 50 this week, especially if they get that short squeeze on this one. This one's moved big in the past, as you can see, from 27 all the way to 60 in 5 days. So one to watch here, and we'll be looking for calls on this one. Now, DraftKings is one of my favorite this week. DraftKings and the next one, BlackBerry, is one of my favorites. So DraftKings, everyone knows Super Bowl Sunday is coming this week. I'm looking for a big push out, breakout here over this 57 range, getting into the 60s this week. I love this play for 2021. This was on my conviction list. This is like my third or fourth highest convicted stock. I think this is going to 100 this year. And, we're starting to finally break out of this, range that it's been in since this high in October, the beginning of October. And it is now the end of January going into February, and we're starting to finally break out, looking for a push over that range, over that 65, getting into the 100 area at the end of this year. So we would look for a break of 57 or, start a position around this 53 to 55 range. And I really think we get a push to at least 58 to 60 this week. So looking at it like a 10% move there. And then lastly, we have BlackBerry. So this one, like I said in the beginning with Fluent, this is one of our highly convicted plays. This was the second highly convicted play other than Fluent, which was at first. You could see the same thing here. We had volume, slowly go down on the selling days. And you can see we're starting to bottom out here. Um, we're in a mini demand zone that I drew here, this green rectangle box, and you can see the supports of $12 to $14 here. And you can see it kind of held that area twice now. So this is one that we want to try to get in this range or right above 14, like 14.50. And I would want to do a starter. If the play runs and we get to 17 to 20 as expected this week, it is what it is. At least we had a starter position, but you don't want to go heavy and, try to be the macho man here. So be conservative and look for an entry in this area right here, even if it's just a starter. And then we could, possibly profit off this play going into the 18 to $20 range. Other than that, I really don't have nothing else to really go over. I try to make these, nice and short. We would love to see a hammer candle, pop up here. I think this week we should bottom, unless, like I said, silver runs or anything else crazy happens. I think we should bottom this week around the 35.54 to 36.50 range. So, that's 100 points of range there. Um, but that's what I'm thinking. If we do break down under that 36.50 for ES here, we go down in that 35.50 range, or 35.70. So we'll see how that plays out. We are down, 5 to 6% from the top already, and my goal was 7 to 13% dip on the market in general. So we'll see how this plays out. That's usually what the dips are when we have these big runs. Get a basically, a nice pullback and then consolidate for a few days and then start to slowly, walk our way back up. And just want to show you guys, here are the levels for the SPY futures ES that you want to look for. So 36.70 to 36.85 range, breaking under this, calls for downside. And I had a little typo here, but 37.21 to 37.35, calls for the upside, breaking over that. So these are the two ranges you want to follow. We're basically trading from this 36.70 range to this 37.35 range. So it's like a 60-point range that we're setting in right now. And that'll, breaking one way or the other shows you which direction we're looking for. And I have a lot of more supports here just because it's possible that we go lower. So you can see where we're looking at there. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining. I'll post this video up very shortly and get it out to everyone. Thank you guys. Have a great night.